He's a man who speaks his mind. He makes movies that mirror reality. Udta Punjab is the center of a lot of controversy. But Anurag Kashyap joining us live at this point, co-producer of the movie, says keep the politics out. It's my battle with an oligarch sitting in the censor board, which is his constituency. I'm just quoting from your own tweet, Anurag. Tell our viewers, why do you think this is a one-on-one battle with Pahlaj Nihalani?
Because Pahlaj Nihalani has been behaving like an oligarch for a very long time, and it's not now. It's been going on for 2 years, and he wants to implement his morality on all our filmmakers, and he's been functioning like that. Anybody who disagrees with him is not allowed in, including in his own censor committee. Like when in revising committee, or people who have unthinking mind who can disagree with Pahlaj Nihalani are never called for revising committee screenings. Everybody who listens to his diktat and his interpretation of the law or of the censorship rules are the ones who come and watch your film. He just wants to stay in control of your life. He's been playing God in all the filmmakers' life, and any filmmaker who does not play along with him and refuse and go to the tribunal are his enemies.
Now, tell us a case in point. Udta Punjab. You had the trailer out, you had the title out, you had sent across a storyboard, so they were all aware of what you're making.
No, absolutely. They know what the film was, and the trailer was cleared without a single cut. In fact, I went on Twitter to thank him for that, because I said finally he's seen a film in context. I also thought that it had a lot to do with the new what Mr. Shambengal's committee had recommended, but I was wrong. I was wrong, because when the film went there, it was a different story. Now what happens is, when I as a filmmaker make my film, I go to the examining committee. Examining committee might have objections with it. Then we go to revising committee, because if either we accept the cuts and move on, which a lot of filmmakers do, but if I don't accept the cuts and go to revising, then the revising sees it in a very different light. But that has not been happening for last 2 years. With Bombay Alert, I've seen the same people from examining committee sitting in revising committee. So after that, after Bombay Alert, I decided I'm never going to play this game with this man. I'm not going to allow him to play God in my life. So what happened with Raman Raghav was, after the examining committee cuts, I went straight to the tribunal and he did not like it.
So you're saying his ego got hurt?
With Udta Punjab. Yeah, his ego got hurt. He's an extremely egoistical man. He's like a megalomaniac sitting there trying to control everything. So what happened was, he knows that without the letter I cannot go to the tribunal. So when the film Udta Punjab went to examining committee, they told us we refer the film to revising committee. He did not give us an official letter for a very long time. Because we wanted to go to the tribunal. Tribunal said that we cannot accept you without a letter of objections. We want to know what has examining committee objected to. We never got that letter. Much later we got the letter of saying that we refer you to revising committee. We had no other option but to come back from tribunal and play up to him and go to revising committee. In the revising committee, he asked us for cuts. He asked us to remove Punjab. He asked us to remove references to all the names of the cities in Punjab. He asked us to remove words like election, commission, MP, MLC, some dialogues, some visuals, and he listing those cuts.
No, but why did he ask you to do it?
That letter normally comes within the next one.
You did not turn around and ask Pahlaj Nihalani. And
no, but I'm saying
why
you can't.
What happened?
I'm saying, have you ever dealt with Pahlaj Nihalani?
Oh, yes, we've
had dealt with Pahlaj Nihalani?
We've had a conversation when the entire Sanskar.
Because he has his opinion. Yeah, with us filmmakers in that board where he is in the seat of the judge, you can't have a conversation with him. It's just a monologue that he talks and you listen.
But you don't get
the if anybody would stand up and...
Sorry, complete. Then I'll ask you.
No, see, this revising committee screening, I wasn't there. There was Abhishek Chaubey, the director of the film, and Aman Gill, who was the co-producer of the film. And they asked for cuts. They came back. And we discussed internally, and we decided that Abhishek Chaubey's decision was that I cannot do certain cuts. Some I might try and alter, but Punjab definitely can't go out of the film. There's no film. There's no sense it makes if Punjab goes out of the film. But when he went there to discuss with him, he said, "No, we have to cut, and you come back to us." And he did not give us a letter. So my option is to go to the tribunal or to the court, but I cannot till I don't have the list of objections.
But why do you think
Which
he's
he's
not
not
given
giving
a
us.
list of objections? Why hasn't he given you a list of objections?
Because he'll have to just. Because I don't know, only he knows. It's a very simple thing, because he'll have to justify why is he asking for the cuts of Punjab. It's going to have consequences and repercussions. After that, anyone can get up and using Udta Punjab, if we take out Punjab as a reference to mutilate any film in the future, that I feel offended by that, is degrading me, is degrading my city. If all future Indian films will be in no country, no state, no city, talking about some random people.
Now, here's what we've heard from the other side.
Of a decision like this.
Anurag, here's what we've heard from the other side. Anurag Kashyap will do anything to sell his movie. He's just going out there and making much ado about nothing. This is not something which is right. There is nothing of this sort that is happening. Now, is that believable?
So I'm saying, if the other side is saying that, I will ask the other side this question: did they come to know about what happened with Raman Raghav 2, which is actually my movie as a director? It went from examining to tribunal in complete silence. Nobody in the world came to know about it. And this is how Pahlaj Nihalani operates. I am the first person on the Udta Punjab team that is speaking to the press after 4 weeks. All the news that has come out can easily be traced to Mr. Pahlaj Nihalani speaks to one person, which is Subhash K. Jha. He is the one who leaks out what are the cuts. He is the one who leaks out what he's asked us. He tries to put us on a back foot, make us look like publicity seekers, make us look like guys who are looking for publicity to promote our film, and tries to put us on a back foot without giving us a letter, so we cannot speak up against him. So that has been his modus operandi for a long time, and I think it's time for us to speak up about it. And it's not just my opinion, it's the entire industry that will say that. In last 2 years since he's been there, nobody's heard me talk about a film. Nobody's heard me talk about my film battle out there. It's because I've been working very closely, believing the ministry. I've been working very closely with Mr. Rathore and the ministry, trying to alter censorship, and we have been made to believe. He came down and met the entire industry, which I set up. So we have been trying to solve a problem. We have been trying to address an issue. Now I know that it is not going to happen. Because when last time we complained to the ministry, I complained to Mr. Rathore, he sent me a text saying that the Joint Secretary, Mr. Murthy, will look into it. Mr. Murthy did look into it. He did pull up Mr. Nihalani, the impact of which was Mr. Nihalani came down harder on us. When that happens, I know I can't going to the ministry and complaining is not an option. Right now, I am left with no other option but to talk about my problem. I need that letter so that within my constitutional right, I can go and fight my battle in the court. So if anybody is trying to make it look political or trying to make it look like publicity that I am seeking, that they are being on the defensive and they don't know how to deal with the situation, they suddenly feel naked, and it's very easy to put all the blame onto me.
True. Anurag, on your Twitter post, you've also tagged the Prime Minister's office. You've also tagged the Prime Minister's office because there is a reason why. I
just said there is a problem. I just said Udta Punjab.
And there is a problem.
That's the only thing I've tweeted, because I want attention to the film from the people who are in power to do something about this man. I cannot understand. There's no logic, no reason, no rationality that can make me understand that how is this man allowed to operate the way he does. Why is it that Mr. Jaitley is completely not looking in this direction? Why is it that why are they setting up Mr. Shyam Benegal's committee for suggestions? Why do they say that it should be called certification board and not censor board, but act like a censor board?
Now, tell me something.
I have talked so many times, and every time they have said that
yes, you have raised the matter saying
acts as a monolith.
With Rajavardhan Singh Rathore, with Mr. Jaitley, he's aware, the Joint Secretary, you've taken the issue. You're saying nothing has happened. Now, this revising committee had other panel members also. Some of them who have got close contacts with the BJP. They've been spokespersons of the BJP. Did they not have an opinion? Or it doesn't matter, their opinion does not matter?
See, it doesn't work like that. When you go to a committee, only one person speaks to you. Everybody doesn't say that. Their debate happens internally before we are called in. When we go in, only either in the examining committee is the regional officer, RO, who speaks, and later on whoever is heading the revising committee speaks to us. Everybody's opinion is to themselves. They discuss among themselves, they come to a point, and then they bring us in and they tell us.
Right, because Ashok Pandit was not part of this revising committee. He's part of the censor board. He says, I was not even part of this. I don't agree with what's going on within the censor board. That's something which we have on record. But Anurag, you also have somebody...
No, but it has happened. See, everybody in the revising committee who has their own mind, who does not agree with Pahlaj ji, is never invited for a screening. You should go and investigate how many revising committee members have not been called for a single screening in the last 2 years.
So you're saying he's the judge, jury and executioner, and that's how he's behaving, and that's why you've called him an oligarch?
He's absolutely that. Yes, that's how he has been behaving for a very long time, yes.
Would you like other directors and producers also to come forth and speak? Because if you have got them around to sit together and try and sort out the
I think everybody is speaking. I think a lot of filmmakers are speaking up now.
Yes, they are.
I think a lot of filmmakers have been speaking up for some time, and they are speaking up. Everybody is speaking up because everybody knows where the problem is.
You say you're trying to tell Mr. Arun Jaitley, Mr. Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore, the Prime Minister's office and the people of this country that there's only one problem with the censor board, and that is Pahlaj Nihalani.
Yes, and I want at least the INB minister or somebody to explain his appointment and his continuing to be there with the way he is. How do they justify the way Mr. Pahlaj Nihalani operates? How do they justify that?
Are you also stumped? Because you are working with somebody who's written the dialogues and some lyrics in your movie, who's been a former censor board member. So clearly you know what boundaries you are pushing.
Which is who?
Shelley is there as
I have no idea. Which is who?
Shelley is part of your team. I heard him speak on the radio today. He's one of the dialogue writers. I'm just
Shelley,
saying,
the songwriter.
Yeah, and he's been part of the
Shelley, I have no idea about that. I have no idea about his political affiliation.
Plus your other movies, in terms of Gangs of Wasipur and other movies that you've produced, you've pushed the boundaries. You've always expected that there will be some.
I know. I have always pushed the boundaries.
Some pushback in terms of you also expect certain cuts to happen. You also expect certain cuts to happen. But if there is,
I know my rights. I know my rights. I know that for me, constitutionally, it's a certification board. It cannot ask you to cut your film down. It cannot ask you, and for that I fight. Many times we have made cuts. Because when sometimes there's no time left and we have no other option to take the fight further. Sometimes there's a financial pressure and you can't take the fight further. But I know it's well within my right that nobody can ask me for a cut on the film. They can certify my film. They can make my film 18. They can make my film 21.
Correct. True, but you know, like I said, you've accommodated. You know certain points where you will want to accommodate. You will want to make certain cuts. But
it has always depended on whoever is there and my time left. Like Gangs of Wasipur did not have a single cut.
But the certification was that it has to be for a very informed, matured audience. So the certification came with that.
Yeah, certification was for the 18. Certificate was 18. The certificate was adult, and for Udta Punjab also we are asking for an adult certificate. We are not asking for a U certificate or UA certificate.
Now, I'm going back to this again. Before you went for this movie, in terms of certification of the movie ahead of the release, at any point through this entire process that is there, since registering of the title, putting across the storyboard, the trailer, at any point in time did Pahlaj Nihalani say that you are going to get trouble? I don't like the Punjab reference here.
No. I don't think so. It only came up when the film went for the censor screening. It never came up before that. Because before that, he doesn't have a role to play there. When the trailer of the film went for the screening, the trailer was passed uncut. The censor asked us to delete certain things. Out of those certain things is also the dialogue which the same censor passed in the trailer.
But are you willing to believe that Pahlaj Nihalani has so much of power and authority that he can sit there and as an oligarch decide in this current establishment that he does not like the movie and he wants to chop your movie?
Somewhere. I'm saying if he's sitting there for 2 years, in spite of all the complaints, if he can behave that way, he feels invincible. He feels invincible, so he acts irrationally. See, film industry is somewhere the last priority for Mr. Jaitley. I don't think amongst all his portfolios he really cares about the film industry. And Pahlaj Nihalani feels invincible. He feels, because he's made reckless claims like that when I complained about him and he was pulled up, called my partner and said that he thinks by going to the ministry that he can make me function a certain way. I'll show it to him. So these are the kind of statements he makes to people.
When did he say this?
I'm saying, what do you want me to believe? This was said on phone after when I complained to the ministry about Mr. Nihalani, the way he was not giving us a letter on the examining committee, and we had gone to the tribunal and they refused to entertain us because we didn't have the objection letter.
Now, isn't this a standard
So I complained to the ministry.
As a movie maker who's gone to the censor board, you talked about your rights constitutionally. I'm saying let's limit ourselves to the censor board. If a revising committee calls you and verbally tells you that you have to make so many cuts, I don't like the word Punjab and the reference to it, isn't it your right as a filmmaker to get that in writing?
Yeah, it is my right to get that in writing, but he's not giving me that.
How long has he delayed this?
What he's supposed to do. See, with the examining committee was 4 weeks back. The letter never was given to us for at least 10 days. 10 days later, he gave us a letter saying that we refer you to revising. They did not explain why. Because if they had explained why, we could have gone to tribunal. So we went to tribunal. Tribunal spoke to Mr. Nihalani's office, say please send us the objections, to which his office replied to the tribunal, the letter has left by speed post. The letter in speed post never reached the tribunal. We were forced to go back to revising because we were losing time. When we went to revising, again he asked us for cuts and he has not given it to us in writing till date. It's been 5 days. I can count Saturday, Sunday, still been 3 days. Within the next official working day, the letter should have come to us.
Well, perhaps even that letter is roaming around somewhere in speed post, Anurag. But because the other aspect of...
No, that letter is always delivered in person.
So even that's not come to you? And your movie is pending release, impending, it's round the corner, you might have to defer it by
17 June.
And you might have to push it now because...
but we can't do anything. If we don't have that letter, we really can't do anything.
So he's left you helpless in such a way that he's misused his authority. That's your accusation against him. That one, he is trying to chop down your movie. And
it is because it's a deliberate attempt. It is a deliberate attempt to delay the film because he knows the financial repercussions on it. So we come under pressure and we play along with him and give him what he wants from us.
No, but how can you serve something like Udta -- or Udta beep? That's not.
We can't do that. That's why we are fighting. We can't do that.
And here's
so we have to. We know our option is to go to the court, but we can't go to the court which is why he's not giving us the letter.
So because he will have to, if you take him to the court or take him somewhere, he'll have to make an official statement or a commitment, isn't it, Anurag? He can't leave it hanging like that.
He's disappeared. He's disappeared. Try finding him.
The other aspect is this political aspect. It came to the fore because it is, Punjab is looking at elections. This drug menace is a reality on ground. So, the data itself says 70% of the population is under this influence of the drug culture in Punjab. So you've taken a pinch of reality and turned it into real. And that's making a lot of people in power there uncomfortable. So it's the Akali BJP alliance. So this entire talk about politics comes from the fact that the people who can influence the censor board are also in power. And that's why perhaps suddenly Pahlaj Nihalani decides that Anurag Kashyap cannot call it Udta Punjab and has to make 89 cuts. Do you see credence to that, or do you think it's just a direct battle between Anurag Kashyap and Pahlaj Nihalani?
No, see, for me, I am a filmmaker. Okay, I can not sit here and make assumptions like people make. People think that I'm doing it for publicity or whatever reason. Those are the assumptions people make. I don't want to sit here and make assumptions that Pahlaj Nihalani is acting under pressure. Because if Pahlaj Nihalani gives it to me in writing, I would go and fight my battle in court. I made a film called Black Friday. I know exactly what happened, who stopped the film, where it got a court order, and we fought the battle. The film eventually came out.
Correct.
My problem is that the film is about the drugs and the youth. It's not a film about the politics of Punjab. And for me, any party who's in power or powers to be, if they're more concerned about a problem, if they're more concerned about drug problems, they should make sure the film comes out.
Okay, so then would you want, say, Prakash Singh Badal and also his associates with the BJP to actually come out with an official letter of support to their film, saying that we back the highlighting of an issue in our state? It's not embarrassing. It's a reality. We want to take it on.
They should say it. Yeah, I'm saying if they're not putting pressure, they should come out openly and say that we are not putting pressure.
True. And do you believe Pahlaj Nihalani, if he really believes that he's got the powers and he's the oligarch that you make him to be, should be man enough to come and take you on and come out and say what is the real reason behind him wanting Udta and no Punjab?
Yeah, he should say that. I'm saying he should say that. He should say all those things. My thing is, why keep us in the dark of what's going on?
True. And what would you want to tell the people who are watching this broadcast about what should they understand about Udta? You're getting a lot of support. Harbhajan Singh has said, Harbhajan Singh has tweeted saying it's about Punjab. If it is the reality, let's embrace it, let's see it and let's address it. That's what he has said. There are others who are saying if you don't...
It is the only way to solve the problem.
No, because they say if real films are not allowed to be made...
When there is a... Yeah.
The view on social media is if real films are not allowed to be made, then we are going to get trash. And that's what we're going to be subjected to.
We will, but I'm saying after a while, we'll become like children. We will get conditioned to watch these random films set nowhere about nobodies. I'm saying if that's the kind of cinema and culture we want to propagate in a democracy like this, then it's not a democracy. My thing is, if you really want to solve the problem, you have to first admit and acknowledge there is a problem, and there has to be an intention to solve the problem. The problem of people should be far bigger than just randomly winning an election.
Very rightly said. Anurag Kashyap, you've been honest enough and you've been man enough to say the truth and say your mind, speak your mind. Let's hope Pahlaj Nihalani can acknowledge that his grouse is with you and that there is no political influence. And if it is the other way around, let him be man enough to say that too, saying that's the reason why we want Udta and no Punjab.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you very much.